Right, Arsh, it's been 2 years since our Liverpool deal.
Yep.
Okay, give me your headlines. Three things that have gone well, one thing that's not gone well.
Okay, gone well. First of all, great deal because no rent paid up front, no deposit paid up front, limited capital required to get involved, minor modernisation. Second thing that's gone really well, bookings, done really well on the bookings. We've and exceeded the nightly rate that we're expecting. So from a break-even point of view, our break-even, believe it or not, is the best part of 3 nights in a month, which when you break it down like that is 10% break-even, which is crazy. Normal people work on a break-even around 70% occupancy. We're breaking even at 10%. So
Brilliant.
I think that's credit to you as well, because you're the one that's dealing with the bookings. This one.
Okay.
So third thing that's gone well is I think just the level of the way that we've managed it. So we've outsourced everything.
Yeah.
We've outsourced everything. So we've got virtual assistants that deal with the platforms, that deal with the guests, that deal with the cleaners. And pretty much it's allowed us to go off and do other things, go off and create other service accommodation units in different locations. So now we've got Cornwall, Liverpool, Manchester, Wolverhampton, Nottingham, Blackpool out of all places, but yeah.
Okay, brilliant. One thing that hasn't gone well has been a bit of a sticking point.
We've got a slight issue with the freeholder. Because whenever we're reliant on obviously the guests. We're in the penthouse, we're on the top floor, and we're reliant on guests being able to utilise the lift. And the lift has been a bit of an issue for us. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And upkeep of the communal area, because if it's raining, we've had a few issues where there's been some leaky pipes and stuff in the hallway, not in the flat. And trying to get them to come out to that quickly so it doesn't affect our bookings and our reviews has been something. So can you imagine as a guest?
So what would you say to investors then? Is it a big enough issue that it would have meant, in hindsight, would you have taken the deal?
I'd still take the deal, even today, regardless of, because that's a minor. And remember, the lift doesn't break down every day. It breaks down, probably once a year.
Right, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean, as in like it's a minor inconvenience in comparison to the 2 years that we've had of incredible bookings.
Yeah.
And then in terms of when we took the deal on, we spent a little bit more on this project in terms of the refurb. We didn't do anything hugely structural.
No.
We didn't knock out walls or do anything like that. Upcycled the kitchen, repainted, upcycled, and a lot of it was just cosmetic instalments. But I think taking the plunge and using myself as the designer and going for something that had a wow factor, and that's why we get so many incredible bookings, as well as the photography. We've been featured on, it's been used as a filming set for Married at First Sight, it's been used by Channel 4, we've had quite a few short films that have been in there, not of an adult kind. We've had quite a few different opportunities.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, and I think one of the great things about this apartment is that we also had the option to purchase. So from our point of view, instead of buying it, we've actually got the option to almost try before we buy. So if it goes well, we can exercise the option to buy. And because the cash flow that the property is generating, it means that we can utilise the cash flow from that property to actually purchase the property, which means that, again, we're not using our own savings to purchase the property. Fist bump. So there we go. So lots of benefits to this deal, and I think it's gone really well, personally.
Yeah. With anything with managing guests, I think you do have the moments where you get sent a video from your cleaner and you're like, oh gosh, they've really had a party in there. But I think if you have your procedures in place of what happens then in that situation, you're okay. Things like minute alarms on the property have been a godsend, because all it takes is a quick text to the guest to say, you're being a bit loud, could you turn it down? And to be fair, apart from that, we haven't had any major guest issues.
Touch wood. But then, yeah, like I said, it's all about systems, procedures, making sure that, we're not letting the apartment for 50 quid a night, which then attracts the wrong types of guests, the people that can afford £50.
We're set at what, $390?
We're set at $390 a night. So,
and what did you start on? What did you put
I put my projections, I think, at 180.
Wow.
Yeah, so projections were at 180. The occupancy was going to have to be circa 50-60%.
80.
And we're at 80% occupancy, but our break even's 10%. So we've got 70% of actual cash flow margin. And it works well because then that cash flow that we can utilise across the business against other properties that we acquire.
And funnily enough, it's only probably the last couple of months we've been on booking.com where the guests aren't as great. We've always been on Airbnb and we've done incredibly well on Airbnb. And the last couple of months we've gone, right, okay, let's push it out. Let's get more of the midweek bookings. And that's when we've gone onto booking.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Good deal.
I think
And it was only our
deal.
second essay.
It was only our second essay because that was after Cornwall.
Yeah,
Is that right?
So we
had
Nottingham.
Tincroft in Cornwall, and we did
Penthouse.
and then we went on to Nottingham.
We had 7 in Nottingham.
Yeah, we've got 7 in Nottingham. We've got 10 in Manchester. We've got 40 in Blackpool.
How much have they cost?
We've got about 20 odd in, I think 23 in Wolverhampton.
Okay. And how much of your own money or our own money have we put in?
Not had to put in anything.
Are you just using money from one to the next to the next to the next,
correct.
just to build?
So we're using the cash flow from the business to go on to the next one, to go on to the next one, to go on to the next one, and that's how business works. And more importantly, you start from one, you prove concept, make sure that it works, get your systems and procedures, make all your mistakes on the first one, and then you go on to number 2 and 3, 4, 5, and you scale from there.
And your biggest takeaway from that is be married to an interior designer.
Your biggest takeaway from that is be married to a genius. Win-win all round. Win-win chicken dinner.
Right, on to the next one then.
On to the next one, locations. We're always looking for more locations, looking at different locations. We just see what comes across and we just appraise it and we go from there.
How many have you walked away from? Essays?
Walked away from a few. I get approached quite often, but I walk away from a few. I did. I'll tell you what, one has gone wrong. Should we talk about the one that has gone wrong?
Okay, yeah.
Birmingham.
You'd think, great location, beautiful property.
I've got a 2-bedroom apartment, sleep 6 in Birmingham. It's just not getting the uptake. We're getting bookings, but we've had to reduce the nightly rate. Which has pushed up the break even. So it's been interesting. Not giving up on it yet, but yeah, I think it's a tough market, perhaps a saturated market. We're trying to push for circa £250, £300 a night, whereas you can see other apartments that are achieving circa £100 from a guest point of view. Even though the quality of the apartment, we've just got to ask the question what they're looking for.
One of the things that I do when Arsh approaches me for a deal, he says, what do you think of this place? The first thing I do is I go on Airbnb and I'll go, right, what are the standout properties in that area? And what am I competing against? What's going to be something completely different that we would put in there? Are we going to go high end? Are we going to go luxury? Are we going to go funky? Look at what else is out there. If there's a standout property that I think that's my main competitor and they're way cheaper than I can do with the numbers, then I'll go, I don't know if this is the right one for us.
Yeah, so I mean, we can turn it around because the renter landlord is not extortionate.
So have you just gone back to renegotiate?
We're going back to renegotiate. Okay. We're going back to renegotiate, and also on top of that, we're also putting the option to purchase because I think it's a great apartment, great location. And again, if we can structure it as a deal which will work over a longer period as opposed to a short period, I'm just trying to slowly adjust the strategy accordingly.
Cool.
Remember, it's not all about cash flow. You've got to have short, medium, and long-term goals that may be pushed further into the long term as opposed to short term.
I learned something new there.
There we go.
You can do your thanks for listening bit now.
Oh, okay. Thanks for listening, guys. Really hope that you've enjoyed it. Take care. Bye.